Você confiaria sua vida a um país que há poucos anos estampava noticiários como um dos mais violentos do planeta? Um lugar que era sinônimo de medo, mas que hoje em dia é associado à segurança, liberdade e oportunidades. Praias no Pacífico, impostos baixos, Bitcoin como moeda e alta segurança. É isso o que El Salvador tem oferecido. Mas será que vale a pena? Olá, navegante, meu nome é Francisco Litvai, fundador da Settee, e hoje você vai ver uma entrevista feita pelo nosso correspondente Murilo, lá em El Salvador, junto com o Markus, um austríaco que decidiu sair da teoria, ir para a prática e emigrar para El Salvador. Ele foi até lá, abriu empresa, testou o ambiente e passou pela experiência completa de realizar um negócio em El Salvador. Agora, ele compartilha o que ele encontrou de verdade, o que funciona, o que ainda desafia e o que você precisa avaliar antes de tomar essa decisão. Vamos pro vídeo.
Markus, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
First, can you talk a little bit about your background back home and what's your work here in El Salvador at the moment?
So my background from back home, I started very early and started my own businesses very early. My first business I started at 18, and then from there I moved on, and it just got bigger and bigger till the point where things got quite big and the work-life balance kind of changed towards too much work. So that's why I decided to, sell a little bit of those businesses in order to start over fresh. So yeah, that was my background from back home here in El Salvador. I started the Hotel Santa Surf Villa. I did sell it though now. There is a new owner on it, and at the moment I'm in real estate. So I invested in a lot of properties here.
Okay.
A couple of them I split up and sold smaller parts of it. I'm also building in another hotel at that very moment. This might take quite a good while. Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing at the moment in El Salvador.
Interesting. And what motivated you to leave Austria?
So Austria is a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Nothing bad to say about that. We have the mountains, we have the lakes. It's an incredible country. However, I'm a beach boy. I love to surf. I love the summer. The winters are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. We have skiing, we have snow, we have mountains. But it's a long time. It's like it's cold half a year. To overcome the time, it was sometimes a little depressing.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of trips during this time. Always surf trips. So at a certain point, I decided to at least get a holiday house or something like more permanent in order to be able to spend most of that time in that country.
So the climate was a big factor.
The climate was definitely one of the biggest impacts on my decision.
Yeah.
And that was mainly the reason why I was open in order to find something else, like on a more permanent base.
And by leaving your home country, how did that affect your relationship with friends and family? Did they say like, why are you leaving to El Salvador? Why are you going away?
So in general, the family and the friends were used to it.
Yeah.
To all the trips I did, trying to spend most of the time overseas during the winter time anyway. So they were kind of used to it. So it didn't really affect it. However, obviously, after I told them, I bought property in El Salvador, which was a very spontaneous decision of mine. You know, El Salvador still has, unfortunately, that reputation of being dangerous, especially when you Google the country for people who don't know a lot about it. So it was kind of a first shock more for my mom when she heard about it. But obviously, the more I told her about it and the more research she did herself, she realized that El Salvador is a good place to be.
Okay. And you told me that Brazil was in your mind when you were trying to look for a place.
Yes, I've been to Brazil many times, and I love the culture. I love Brazilians. I love the energy. I love the vibe. To be fair, I haven't been a lot into surfing down in Brazil.
Okay.
It was more like on a business aspect. I've been to Sao Paulo a lot of times, to the carnival, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and then I just thought, okay, I love the country, I love the people, I love the culture. If I find now a place in Brazil where I can surf, kite surfing as well is big in Brazil. So that's why my mind was open towards Brazil. And I was actually on the way there. I was on that trip down from Mexico through Guatemala, El Salvador, and I didn't know anything about El Salvador, and I just got stuck there.
Really?
And then things turned out that way.
And what made you stay here and not keep going?
So it was as soon as I came into the country, I was hit by the friendliness of the people. It's like as soon if you normally get out of an airport,
very welcome here.
super welcome. So I can remember when I got out of the airport, normally I used to the taxi drivers like taxi, and trying to, and here they were like just calm, peacefully asking, you want to need a taxi? You was like, no, and then you expect the bargain. And they were like, okay, enjoy our country. And you're like, what? What's going on? What's happening? And just that was the first impression. And then after that, because El Salvador got so safe, only such a short period of time, that the people are very proud of their country now and very glad that all these foreigners are coming in. So the friendliness is over top. And the second of all is obviously the business aspect, because I consider it's not a young country, but now after that change which just happened, everything's growing. You have all those opportunities with that strong government at the moment, like which or steady government is the right word, which then made me decide to take.
Talking a bit more about that on the business side, how did the tax system difference influence your decision compared to Austria, which has a heavy tax system, and here in El Salvador, where entrepreneurship is more free and less bureaucracy?
Yes, so definitely the tax system is a big thing. There are definitely more tax advantages in the country. It wasn't so much it didn't impact my decision at all, because I didn't come for my main reason wasn't to make like business or at first starting a business here. Obviously throughout the process, I'm actually very happy about the tax system. But yes, the tax system is amazing, especially if it comes to cryptocurrency or other assets on interest on those, the money make on those. It wasn't definitely not my first decision.
Yeah.
But it's definitely very helping and much better than it was back home. And in regard to the bureaucracy, it has pros and cons. At that moment, I see it more on a pro way, because the country as well just started again now to develop. So the country, the banking, everyone has to kind of implement the system now. It's not like back home where systems are kind of implemented since dozens or sometimes hundreds of years, which makes that bureaucracy of very slow and not very efficient. While here, everything needs to get set up. So they're setting up all those standards now on like modern possibilities, having computer setups, programs, etc. Things which are already set up are by far better, and bureaucracy is by far easier than if, for example, would be back home.
Yeah. And you operate in real estate and tourism.
Here, I operate with the hotel in tourism and exactly with the investment in real estate.
And how do you see the opportunities here as a growing country for those areas of business?
Oh, it's amazing, especially tourism. In regard to tourism, you can see now all those people coming to the country. Every month, every year, obviously, tourism is rising a lot. You can really see the change, as well as the whole infrastructure for the tourism is growing in an enormous speed. So that's the moment now to invest in the country, to start something. Real estates are already on a very high level. So like property prices are not that cheap, but you have the possibilities. So there is still tons out on the market. It's a little bit maybe different than we expected from how I expect the real estate market from back home. Here you have to go out more. You need to meet people. You need to talk to locals, to the community, in order to find those property. It's not so common when back home you just go to the biggest real estate agent and you can expect that he finds 90% of the stuff which would be for sale. Here you really need to go out to the community. You need to make connections and need to wait until people also approach you. Then with their properties they want to sell.
And do you see that as more of a short-term or long-term gain, the investments in real estate specifically?
A very tricky question. Like I said, the price, it definitely long term. The government is very stable. There wouldn't be any changes, and people just are realizing now how great El Salvador is, the possibilities they have. So there's definitely more and more investment now coming on the market. It always depends on what prices you're able to purchase. But as long as you're able to make a good deal, it's definitely a very good long term investment in my opinion.
And the government, in relation to that, the security, and I mean a strong government, right?
The government is very strong.
It's a firm hand on the security.
And the security is amazing. I haven't locked in those 3 years since I'm here. I haven't locked my cars. The cars are parking out front. The keys are inside. I haven't heard anything bad whatsoever in 3 years. The security, in my opinion, I've never been in a country where I felt so secure than here in El Salvador at that very moment.
Wow. And that really helps with the perception for tourism and real estate development.
100%. I hope it will change now more quickly, because unfortunately, a lot of websites of governments in the world still say that El Salvador is a high-risk country to travel. Unfortunately, especially European countries haven't changed their policy yet, even though it's by far safer than any European country, in my opinion, already.
Oh yeah.
So that will make a huge impact. As soon as the governments have enough confidence to say, okay, El Salvador is safe now, we're going to take off the warnings, the travel warnings, it's going to give that country another push in tourism.
Yeah. And what has your experience here as a businessman taught you compared to how it was back home?
Oh, that is something very different.
Yeah.
And this is something you have to be aware of coming to the country.
Okay.
There is a cultural difference, obviously. Everything you need to have more patience. Latin America in general, it's not like that money driven like we know it in the Western culture. We see it in the US or even in Europe, where everything is on time and needs to be delivered. And here things, we call it a little bit like mañana time.
Yeah.
Everything is delayed a little bit.
Postponed
And especially if you run a business, you need to adapt to that.
Yeah.
That means you need to adapt to the approach of your workers, of the people you make business with, carpenters. If you give them jobs and you expect a deadline, you have to expect that this deadline is not met, or keep on pushing obviously on a friendly way, making sure they stay on top of it. Otherwise things can get delayed for months. This makes business sometimes very tricky.
Okay.
Especially when you're used to move forward very quick and you rely on things getting done because you already pre-planned other things. So here I had to change a little bit my approach. But as soon as you figure that out,
You go with it.
easy.
And do you see that slow pace more related to the bureaucracy or more just the culture?
Oh, it's very much just a cultural thing. Like I said, it's not like that. They're not like that money driven than back home. It's not their main priority. Their perspective is a little bit different, I would say, culture wise, than to ours, where we want to have everything saved up. We want to have that house. We want to have a fence around that house. This is my property. If I drive a car, I need a car insurance. Otherwise, something happens. If I crash something, that mindset is not there. Not that strong. That means cars are driven without insurance. They don't worry about it very much. So that also means they don't worry a lot about deadlines or being in time, because it's just, like I said, a culture of things, and they never had to expect any consequences, because the business they made before, they knew it wasn't the offers they got. The guy who gave them the offer was never mad because they were delayed. So I think that comes a lot out of culture.
And all those great experiences here, have ever crossed through your mind to leave the country, to live somewhere else? And if so, where would you dream about going?
I'm very open for this at the moment. I am very happy here right now. It is only 3 years that I'm in the country. If I would have a strong feeling about living somewhere else at that very moment, I would obviously already start going that way slowly in order to travel there more often or so. But at that very moment, I'm actually quite happy here. I can't say that I'm gonna stay forever.
Yeah.
Especially when you go home and you get back into home supermarkets and restaurants. You're like, oh, it's kind of nice. I was kind of missing this, but after you had this for a month or two, I'm always happy to get back to this laid back living style they're having in the country. So at that very moment, I don't see myself moving, but obviously I'm very open for it.
But right now you're content here, you love it.
I feel safe, I feel secure.
It's amazing.
I have my friends here, my dog's here, so I can't don't see myself going anywhere else.
What would you say to someone who's thinking about moving here?
It's sometimes challenging. Obviously, at the beginning, to get to know the culture, the lifestyle. Prices are also not 100% super cheap. You can't always think, like, if you come to supermarket, it's not very expensive, but it's also not like super cheap. Yeah, so I can highly recommend it. I fully highly recommend it, but they have to be open for things moving slower and everything is more laid back. But like I said, I just can highly recommend it.
But be open to adapt to the culture and like don't bring your fast-paced mentality here because it's not gonna work.
Yeah, that one you have to live in a plane.
Yeah.
You have to You have to get into that flow. That way you can enjoy it. If you get annoyed, if the buses are not in time, if you order food and it takes 2 hours instead of 15 minutes what you expect back home, and you're always constantly annoyed about this, you created negativity inside yourself. So this is definitely something you need to be aware of when coming to the country.
Is that something you still struggle with? Or?
Oh, I'm struggling with this very much. I'm not the most patient guy as well. So yeah, I do struggle with this on a daily basis, but I kind of found a way how to deal with that. And as well, I'm always having this friendly reminder where every couple of days I'm gonna go through my lists. Is it my mechanics where my cars are? Is it the electrician who was supposed to be here on Friday?
Yeah.
Just always keep up on friendly reminder. So I'm trying to make sure I'm always in their head, in the back of their head, in order to keep on moving forward.
Yeah.
But this is something you need to figure out for yourself. Create that kind of friendliness with your worker and confidence with the worker, where you can also say, okay, hey, I'm kind of expecting this in time, without taking this personal. So, but yeah, obviously I'm complaining about this every day. He's like, oh, he was supposed to be here, but there's not much you can do about this. And it's also not a huge problem.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be someone holding someone back.
And I imagine you're getting used to it at this point.
100%.
Yeah.
You're getting to get.
And how long have you been here for now?
So I've been almost 3 years now.
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years
Wow.
now, yeah.
Amazing. Man, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very
Really.
much.
If you want to promote anything, any projects, direct people to something that you have here in El Salvador, feel free. Anything you want to say to close?
Yeah, as a closing, like I said, take the opportunity. If you're open for it, come here, look at the country, convince yourself of the beautifulness of the country, the volcanoes, the hikes, the waterfalls, the opportunity to have money-wise, whether it's into real estate or in tourism, everything's open. It's like I said, it's a young country, and especially if you're in cryptocurrency, it's definitely one of the places you want to go. Not just for the tax cut you can get on this, but as well on all those beautiful projects happening at Bitcoin Peak.
Huge here,
It is huge. Everyone accepts Bitcoins. You can pay with Bitcoin, and obviously they have all these conventions and a huge community, especially down in El Sonte, where you can connect, where hundreds of projects get realized.
You can even buy property with Bitcoin, right?
Even properties can get bought by Bitcoin. There are companies which help you to get the Bitcoin out of the country and back into the country. So everything's set up really nicely in the country. So I can only highly recommend anyone to give it a try.
Yeah.
Se essa conversa abriu sua mente para novas oportunidades na América Latina, ótimo. El Salvador pode ser uma excelente alternativa, ou pode simplesmente não fazer sentido para o seu momento. O ponto é, decisões internacionais exigem estratégia. Então, se quiser saber se faz sentido empreender, residir, organizar parte da sua vida fora do Brasil, clique no link abaixo e agende uma conversa com um dos nossos especialistas. Mas espera, se você gostou do vídeo, não se esqueça também de curtir e se inscrever no canal antes de ir embora para apoiar mais análises e entrevistas como essas. Nos vemos no próximo vídeo e lembre-se, porque a sua vida te pertence.